welcome back to Harmon Speaks. I have a friend of mine on the show tonight who was a former student back when I was an entire lifetime younger than I am today. I don't even know if I can subtract that many years, but I was young and I had dark hair at the time, and I had somewhat of a neck. They're all gone now. But anyway, I'm glad to welcome my friend Mindy Jackson onto the show. Good evening, Mindy.
Hi, it's good to be here.
It's good to have you on the show. And I don't know a whole lot about this topic, so I'm looking forward to you educating us. And I'm sorry you've had to become an expert on it, but I do appreciate you sharing it with us today. From what I understand, Mindy, somewhere around November of 2020, you contracted COVID-19, correct?
Correct.
Right. And then it stayed around a very, very, very long time.
Yeah. It's in fact, it was November 17th. I remember it very well.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget that's the date of my positive test. And yeah, it's I now have post-COVID syndrome, or it's the clinical name is well, I can't get it right. The abbreviation is PASC, but don't ask me to tell you what that stands for. We just call it post-COVID syndrome.
I understand. I have been hiding under my desk for a couple of years, and thank God I've not gotten COVID. I also wear a mask for all those that makes it angry. I don't care if you get mad about that, but I only have one lung, and I do not want COVID in my lungs. So, if America will forgive me, I'm going to wear a mask, and I appreciate if they would too. But anyway, tell me what happened when you got COVID, please.
Well, it started out typical, there was no doubt that I had it because my stepdaughter and my daughter came down with it. They spent the night with each other. It was funny because, we had a pretty tight bubble until that happened. Like, we weren't even seeing our adult children. I would take deliveries over every weekend, and we were really careful. And then we kind of let our guard down for Halloween. We celebrated a bunch of birthdays and had a Halloween party with just our kids, and bam, there were 8 of us that got it. But it started out, like they told you it would: sniffles, kind of upper respiratory, My husband got it also, but he was completely asymptomatic. And I got sickest. Everyone else in the family who got it was sick for about a week. I had it for 3 weeks. Was in the ER twice, refused admittal both times because I was terrified. I didn't want to go on a ventilator. Right. If I was going to die, I wanted to die at home. you know? Right. But I ended up with COVID pneumonia, a couple of other bacterial infections, and then going 3 months into it, things were not getting better. I mean, the pneumonia got better, the infections got better, but the other symptoms did not. And that's when they diagnosed me with post-COVID syndrome, and it's been a journey ever since.
So what symptoms stayed with you?
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Let me see if I can reach this. Yeah, well, that's not the right thing. I actually wrote a list of symptoms for my very first doctor appointment at this point when I realized I wasn't getting better. And there's a list of over 45 symptoms that have continued, from headache, shortness of breath, rapid heart rate, brain fog, hence the reason I got sidetracked and almost missed our appointment today.
Maybe I've been living with brain fog for 60 years now, so I totally understand that.
Let's see.
You hear that fog whistle with me all the time, that boo.
Yeah.
That's me going through the fog every single day.
Well, now that you brought that up, I'm going to say it the way everybody else says it, and I know it's wrong. Tinnitus. It's really tinnitus, but I can't stand saying tinnitus. I like to say tinnitus.
Okay.
Anyway, I have that pretty severely. Hearing loss. I mean, the list just goes on and on, as are the diagnoses going on and on. So
well, this may be a foolish question, but I make a show out of foolish questions. Why you? Why do you have all these symptoms afterward?
You know, that's a really good question. I did have fibromyalgia going into it, but that is the only pre-existing condition that I had. And as you look at some of these groups, that survivor groups, I'm in one that's called Long Hauler Advocacy Project. It has about 7,000 members. Anyways, you look at these groups, there's not a lot of commonality. Some people were completely asymptomatic. Some people were hospitalized for months and months. It just seems to arbitrarily attach itself to about 30% of the population. We can't find any commonalities so far.
Okay. So this is nationwide. People get this nationwide.
Yeah. The conservative estimates are 15%, and the high estimates are about 35% of people that get COVID get long COVID.
Long COVID. Okay. Do most of them stay in the hospital for this period of time? No. Wow. So they figure this out at home. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I have a coworker whose dad was really sick. He was in the hospital for, I think he was in over 3 months. And then he was transferred to a rehab facility because, of course, when you're on a ventilator for that long, you lose all kinds of other things. And he is now just fine. He's out hiking and doing all kinds of things. So, yeah, it just kind of picks and chooses.
So how is having this long-term COVID affecting your life now?
Well, I haven't been able to work full time since I got it. Maybe 2 weeks out of the last 15 months that I've worked a full 40 hours. I am working from home. So, just to give you a picture, I literally roll out of my bed across the hall and into my chair and turn on my computer. I've been working from home since March 14th of 2020. And so I don't have to commute or anything. My job is not physical. It's all, I sit in a chair. So not to be able to work full time, I'm not on my feet. I'm not doing a lot. So that's the biggest thing. I can't drive because I can't process fast enough to be safe on the road. It's like, I liken it into having a traumatic brain injury. I tell all my family members and my husband and my staff at work, you got to treat me as if I really have a traumatic brain injury and I don't remember things. I have several new health diagnoses, asthma, anxiety, which is really new for me. I've never really had mental health issues, and I did a lot of mental health counseling in my career. So it's very interesting to be on the other side. So I've got the asthma, the anxiety, rheumatoid arthritis. I have it's called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS, which is a form of dysautonomia, which means my autonomic nervous system is not working. So I faint all the time. My heart rate goes crazy. I can't, like if a good example, if I'm brushing my teeth, my heart rate can jump up to 150 just from standing there and brushing my teeth. So I don't walk to the mailbox. I can't, my balance is gone. I can't ride my bike. I have a nice little rollator walker that I take if I'm walking any type of distance, because I kind of walk like I'm on a ship, listing to one side, and I never know when I'm going to what's going to cause me to pass out, and that's very embarrassing in public. So what else? Colitis. I can't think of one body system that has not been affected. And I still have lots of specialists to see, but it takes a long time to get into these specialists because there's so much unknown. They just don't know what to do.
Right. Do they give you any hope that this will wane in the future?
They don't know.
They don't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
Okay. So this could last another week or a lifetime. You don't know.
Yeah. Both. I got both vaccines and the booster, and each time I hoped it would make it better because there was some talk that the vaccines would make it better. I think it did for a very small percentage of people, but didn't help me. It just made me sick for a week. Right.
I hope your employer was understanding about this and your need to stay home and work.
Yeah. In fact, I live in the state of Washington. And so we were kind of one of the first ones that were sent home. And we actually are not going back until next week for the first time. I mean, the whole state has been shut down this entire time.
Wow.
So I have been very lucky. That's been my biggest concern is what am I going to do when I'm required to go back to work?
Right. Well, I hope they understand and take care of you and let you work at home. But, it's up to the employer, I guess, but I hope it works.
Well, the good thing is I'm a vocational counselor, so I know how to talk them into it.
You got to work that. That's great. Let me take a moment and ask about that. Tell me about what you do for vocational. You're with Vocational Rehabilitation, right?
I used to be. I used to be in a different state. Yeah, before I moved to Washington, I was a DVR counselor, so Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. I worked mostly with mental health and helped a lot of people. I'll toot my horn a little bit here. I helped probably close to 4,000 people over a course of 11 years gain employment and get through school, and absolutely loved that job. Right now I work actually for workers' comp, and I help injured workers. So I'm kind of on the other side where for vocational rehabilitation, people had to already be disabled. With workers' comp, I'm trying to keep them from becoming disabled.
Okay. So you work with workers' comp issues now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great. Thank you. I had to go through a vocational rehabilitation counselor when I started college, so I've had a little bit of exposure to what they do. So I appreciate what you do for people. It's a great way. Now, how do people react to you in your new reality?
The people who know me best, they can see what's going on with me daily. Like my staff, they can tell when I'm having a bad brain day, or when things just aren't going right. My family, of course, but people who don't see me on a regular basis or know me that well, they don't really understand it. And so, it's a hidden, I have several new disabilities, not just the long COVID. I've just read off that list, but hidden disabilities are so different than visual disabilities. And so it just kind of depends. But, you also get the naysayers who don't even believe that COVID is real.
Right.
And that's frustrating. That makes me angry.
I'm sure it does. Yeah. Well, I work with a support group with people with various disabilities, and we were discussing today the problem with folks who have indivisible disabilities. As I walk down the street, and everybody knows my story. No feet, no hands, they may not know why I don't have them, but they see that I don't have them. if I have a blue placard in my car, everybody's fine with that. But if you have uh, long-term COVID or fibromyalgia or any other disability that you can't just see, then people wonder why you want special treatment when you don't want special treatment. You want proper treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we solve that problem? We went around and round and round about it. Do you have any thoughts on how we solve that?
You know what? I have a perfect thought about that. I lately have had a sticky on my computer that just says, assume good intent. And so, I have that there for a reason. I kind of have a coworker that I get frustrated with. And so I have that there to remind me that I need to always remember that, or assume that she has good intentions. I think it's the same with disabilities. And maybe instead of assuming good intent, just assume that people are authentic in who they are. And if you have, I now have a handicap placard, and I know people, they look at me and go, why? But just trust me.
Right.
Just trust me.
When I was a young skinny man, I remember pulling into a disability parking space, and this young woman ran up and started slapping on the window of my car. And as I got out, she's like, "What are you doing in that space? You have feet?" And I said, "Yes, and they're made out of rubber, and the ankle is titanium, and the leg is carbon fiber, but I don't have a real one. Is that okay with you?"
Yeah,
and she looked at me really funny, and I said, "You're going to have to forgive me. I wore long, big boy pants today, but you can't see them, but I don't have feet." So I took the space. And, I think that we have a problem in this country because people want to assume there's nothing different and that you're only taking advantage of a parking space or whatever the advantage might be when those are well earned and well needed. And I want us to get past that. So I felt like on this show tonight, if we talk about it a little bit, maybe people will hear some of this and say, maybe I shouldn't be so quick to judge.
Yeah.
Maybe I ought to just say, "Hey, is there anything I do to help you?" and move on.
Yeah.
That'll be the day, but we're going to hope for it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because even everyone I work with closely are vocational counselors. And even when I had, told you I had fibromyalgia before I got long COVID, and I've had that since 1997. So I've had that my entire vocational rehabilitation career. And I did not share that with any of my coworkers for the first 8 years because I was afraid of what they would think. And these are vocational counselors. We were serving people who had the same diagnosis. But I saw the bias or prejudice within my own coworkers about that particular diagnosis. That really, we have a long ways to go.
Right. We
really do. Yeah. Yeah. And, I went on a cruise recently, which gave me tons of hives to even do after this long COVID. And so I'm not going to go into the reasons why we decided to go through with it, but I had my little walker, and so did my stepfather, who's 82. So it's my mom and my stepfather, me and my husband, and my stepfather and I are scooting along in our little walkers. And they have formal nights on cruises. And I realized I hadn't been shopping for 2 years because we've been in the middle of a pandemic. All I had were high heels, like this high. So here I am with a walker in high heels. And I remember thinking, these people are thinking I'm a poser.
Right.
And then I thought, it doesn't matter. I don't have the strength or the brain power to worry about that,
Right. Yeah, I have a great story about taking my family to the movies when my oldest child was around 6. As we walked in, it was summer, wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and a group of kids are coming out of the theater, and they stop. One of them looks at me and says, "What the heck is that thing?" And they pointed at me and laughed. And I told this story to a group of young folk this past week. And I said, "I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I am way too old to care what you think of my appearance. I got one lady in the world I got to impress, and I married her. We've been hanging on for 30 years. The rest of you can think I'm ugly and I'll move on. I really
Yeah.
don't care." So, I fortunately, I feel like I'm getting past the point where I worry about how people react to me. But there are younger people coming along, and I want the world to be a little more accepting for them and a little less judgmental.
Yeah, no, I agree, because so much of what I experience is the brain processing issues, and then the fatigue. And I haven't yet been diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, but I know it's coming. I mean, I know that I have it. And I think, what about these kids who long COVID doesn't discriminate? There are children
Right.
who are getting this, and how in the world are they going to be able to articulate to the adults around them what they're feeling, and what they're, at least I can articulate how tired I am, how I can't process how my hands hurt, what's going on. And I just think, how are they going to be able to articulate so that the people they associate with understand their limitations?
Right. Right. I want, as a married man, I want you to give your husband a little plug here and tell us about how supportive he's been to you.
Oh my goodness. I might tear up, and I don't cry in public. I could not survive. I would not have survived without his support. And we've only been married 3.5 years. So he's my second marriage. But he also went to Bearden High School. He graduated in '84.
Did he?
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, he is.
He probably didn't have my class, though, right?
No, I don't think he took any foreign language.
Yeah, he would probably be getting counseling for that now if he would have missed class back in those days.
No, he missed the best teacher out there.
Well, of course he did. Well, thank you.
Of course he did. But he has been absolutely. He drives me everywhere because I can't drive,
Right.
so he has to take time off work in order to take me where I need to go. But I don't do any housework because I don't have the energy. He takes care of all the housework, all the cooking. He speaks for me when I can't speak. I don't know what I would do without him.
That's fantastic.
He does call me a dumpster fire, though.
Hey, Neil, you might want to edit out that part about he does the work around the house. I don't need any more grief, so let's just leave that part out. But okay. You got any last thoughts for us there, Mindy?
No, not that I can think of. I just appreciate that you're giving this a platform, because I have made it my mission to advocate and to educate. And
Right.
so, I do all the interviews that I can possibly do, all the studies that I can possibly do, so that we can figure this out.
Right. I did read those that you sent me, and I found them very helpful. So thank you for that. And thank you for being an advocate out in the world. I think we need all that we can get. And
Yeah.
I want the world to discuss this and understand that disability is not an alienating factor. We're still perfectly human. We're still in the midst. We just have to do it our way. And I hope that this show helps make that a little clearer in some way.
Yeah.
So thank you for being on our show, Mindy. I wish you Godspeed. I hope things go well for you. I hope they figure out something and you're not in this way forever. But if you are, make the best of it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Hang on a minute. We'll close out, but let me shut this down. Thank you for watching Harmon Speaks. We're always grateful when you tune in and watch what we're trying to do. We do want to change the world one person at a time. Please be a viewer. Please subscribe. Please like the videos. And please tell your friends. We need to build up more of a viewership. And we would appreciate your help. If you find any of the information that you're helpful, I hope you will help us spread it. Thank you for very, very much for being here tonight. I look forward to seeing you next week. Good night.